now.
And then you can go ahead and do your technology stuff.
Sure, yeah, I'm Molly Cook and I'm with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University. And I just wanted to do a few technology tips for this meeting. So Tara already went over the sound, so feel free to unmute if you have questions during the meeting. I'll also post in the chat box the link to call into the meeting if you have any audio issues at any time. There's also the chat, you'll see that in the chat box. This meeting will be recorded and I just started that recording. And if you have a faulty internet connection or any issues, again, you can just call in via the number in the chat box. So with that, I will turn it over to Tara.
Perfect, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. As you know, it's an exciting time. We actually have the applications in, we have your teams assigned. So for this meeting, I just wanted to go over one more time, just the website where you can find everything for this grant opportunity. And then our next steps would be just reviewing the applications. So, and actually I am going to copy and put this. This is the website that we have for this grant opportunity. And I'm just putting it in the chat box. Perfect. All right. Okay, so this is where all the information is housed for this grant opportunity. We have the program description, the NOFO, the proposed models, any TA sessions that we've had, they've been recorded. The PowerPoint is also listed here. A little bit more about the submission dates, and then our grant negotiations. We hope to start those in May. The main thing that we have, again, this is just review for a lot of you, but the main point on this page is NOFO materials. And that's going to be off to your right-hand side. And this small part right here, reviewers only, this is where you would click on to get all the applications. So once you click it, it actually, let me just click it to go through the full process. It'll bring you over to the 2021 Youth Career Pathways applications. This is in SharedPoint. And the reason why we have to do that extra layer of security, it may ask you to sign in with your Illinois WorkNet. We just have to have that housed in SharePoint for security purposes. Because on here, as you know, there's salaries and there's all kind of information on applicants. So you'll click the 2021 opportunity. Do not let this scare you at all. We're just going to walk through it. There are some changes we had to make in here due to SharePoint. So as you can see for log points 0, that's just the scorecard. We wanted to give you all an extra copy of it. If you know, for some reason you can't find the email right then and there, you have an extra copy of it. If you've missed any of the meeting recordings, you would click this link right here. It is an actual Word document. And then if you click on that, it'll bring you to a secure YouTube page. The recording for today will also be in there, but if you could give us like 48 hours or so to get that uploaded. But the other two are already there. If you have any information as far as you're thinking, what review team am I on again? Who's actually on my team? You can click this folder. And I'm going to show you the document that's in there in 1 second. But we had to put a point, if you notice, in front of the numbers. This is just a SharePoint issue. It would go 1 through 9 perfectly fine. Once we got through 10, it was trying to put it under 1 instead of at the end of 9. So our workaround for that is just to add a decimal point. So 1 through 9 is fine. The issue becomes when you get to 10, it says 1.0, just disregard all the decimals. So 1.0 is 10, 1.1 is 11, it goes all the way. And as you can see how many applications we've gotten in, this is the most applications we've ever gotten. So this is definitely showing the need for this funding for youth. If you look 2.0, that's 20. So I just wanted to show everyone just so you're not understanding what it is. 3.4 is 34. So we have 34 applications total to review. And what we've decided to do is to split them up into 6 groups, and I'll go over that information with you. If everyone could, between today and tomorrow, I just want to make sure you have, everything you need. So if you could click on, any number, it doesn't matter. So I just clicked on number 1. If you could go in here and click to make sure that it opens for you, that you're able to see the documents in here. I try to limit the amount of information in here. So they have their budget forms and their applications. You may see some that have about maybe two PDF files, but we really try to keep it to where you just have the budget and the information you need as far as reviewing the applications in PDF. So if you could just click on here, I just want to make sure everything opens for you. This is technology, and when it's working great, that's awesome, but when it's not, it's an issue. So that's one way to open a document. You can actually click on it and it opens for you. Like I said, it may ask you to log in. I logged in. I'm also using Chrome, which helps. If you're using Edge, there is some type of issue between Edge and SharePoint, which is driving all of us crazy. But our workaround is to use Chrome. Also, I'm using my personal laptop, and I noticed that made a difference than me using my government issued laptop. So if you have another laptop, I was just trying to alleviate all crazy tech issues we could have. The firewall for ours was just really, it made me log in several times. And when I used it on my personal, like I said, I logged in once and I was able to get everything I needed. So if you could, like I said, between today and tomorrow, click in here and click any document, just make sure they open for you. That's my biggest thing. If you have any issues and they don't, please send me an email immediately. I'll put David on it, who's our IT guy, and we'll get you going. So I also want to give you another trick. If you're clicking on the document and it's not working or it's taking too long, you can also click these three dots right next to any document and hit open, and it opens it as well. So try both ways first, and then just let me know if you have any issues. Sometimes it's an account issue, but we should be good to go. Does anybody have any questions about that? Like I said, the main point is our website. You go to reviewers only. You want to access the applications. It's going to make you sign in, and then you'll click here for all the applications. Oh, I see some chat. Hold on, let's see. Oh, that's just Molly. Okay, perfect. And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. We're a small group. So that's just where to get the information. Now, here's the fun part of where we land. So we have 6 teams, and I'll scroll down for number 6 in just a moment. So team number 1 is going to be Marcy, Karen, and Ann. These are our IT/education grants. And this is our first year, as we talked about on our other call. We're really trying to have our team members line up with their sectors. So please give us feedback and let us know if that works for you. So you'll be reviewing 1, 6, 11, 27, 32, and 34. Like I said, just disregard the decimals. It's just a workaround right now we have for SharePoint. Those are our IT/education grants. Team 2 is Heather, Evelyn, Tom. You'll be reviewing 2, 5, 7, 20, and 29. Those are our business and construction grants. And just so everyone knows, this time around, we've had so many construction. So we actually had to split construction over 3 groups. Our third group is Norman, John, Morgan. You got 8, 10, 14, 16, 18, and 19. Those are construction, hospitality, and our energy grants. So you'll be reviewing those. Team 4 is Lisa, Janelle, and Andrew. You have construction. You have 25, 26, 28, 30, and 33. Team 5 is our our healthcare grants. We have Francis, Savannah, and Carmine, and you have 4, 9, 15, 22, 23, and 31. And last but not least is Team 6. You have the mixed bag. So you have a little bit of TDL, you have some manufacturing, security, and energy, and you're doing 3, 12, 13, 21, 24, and 17. And that's Mike, Shannon, and Jeanette. So this is provided, this document here, I just want to show you exactly where it is. So we're under our folder, and it is right here, reviewer information and team assignments. If you click there, it's right here for you. So if you're, and the first page just shows, like we had before, just the sector and agency that you're represented. I have your disclosure forms, your Illinois WorkNet, and your team. And then this was just for a refresher for last time. These are individuals that said, hey, I would like to do nursing, healthcare, I would like to do IT, just separating it out by the sectors. And the information we just reviewed starts on page 3 as far as your individuals Teams. Does anybody have any questions about that part? You can unmute yourselves.
Hi, Tara. I had a question just around potential conflicts of interest. Just in my group, I know I've very loosely worked with one of the applicants. Is there, like, how should we flag any conflict?
Send me an email and then just tell me which group and the capacity.
Okay.
Just very short and sweet, nothing, no long, hey, we have done X, Y, and Z services for them. Just wanted to let you all know they're assigned to me and they're on my team.
Okay.
And then we can go from there. Anybody else have any questions? It's a really good one. Perfect. Okay. So like I said, this is available. I just want one-stop shop for you. That's on the website. And the other document I wanted to show you was the score. Oh, hold on. Looks like we have something on the chat. Oh, okay, Lisa. Got it. The next thing I wanted to show you all is just to review the scorecard really quickly. I know we did on the last two cards, on the last two calls. This is also available through here. And it is first document. So if you need another copy of it, it is there online. But just going over it, the first one is just a welcome. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. The scoring form is right here. You would just enter the log number. So if it's 1.2, just enter 1.2 on there just so we could keep a track of it. Your team number, which is 1 through 6, and then your name. And remember, each application that you review needs their own Excel spreadsheet. So you can save it as Tara Scott dash, and then whatever the agency's name is. I want to be able to have everything in one email from you. So if all 6 of your applications, if you could keep that in one email, that way you can help us out and just keep all the scores together. So once you put in this information, then remember, we are just using these guidelines to score them. So the first portion of the grant is 60%, and this is all about the quality of the work. You've read it, it makes sense to you, you can follow the program. These are just questions that you should ask yourself. So what we're looking at is question 1. Did the applicant describe how the program takes into consideration any executive orders, state plans, regional plans? So your way of scoring that information is here. So they either exceeded the expectation if they've done everything here, where you can clearly see that there are multiple target populations, they're serving youth with needs or in disproportionately affected areas. They meet the standard if they've done it and it's just one track. And then it's below the standard if there's no evidence that you could see that they have a target population. So use these categories to kind of guide your scoring. And we put this in place so that we could kind of keep the scores somewhat in the same boat, so that hopefully no one would score a 1 versus a 9. That way, we'll kind of keep everybody into these big buckets. That's what we have. And then you just enter your score here. So I'm giving them an 8. And if you thought it was a great job, you just put, great job here. Another thing you would look at, if they have targeted industries and they have occupations, they included multiple, occupations that they have the job descriptions. Just very briefly, what I was looking at, some of the applications actually have employers lined up. They have the letter of commitment. They have the job descriptions for the students. So that would be an opportunity where they would, at least I know they're starting from 8 to 10. And then another one is, they have one target population, they have one employer on here, then they would be between 4 and 7. And then if they have none, most likely you wouldn't even receive the applications. We've already taken out the applications that didn't meet the criteria. So the ones you're reading should have at least meets to exceed standards. But again, you would just put your score here and then you would put your comment here. One of the things that we did change from the last time around, just to make it a little bit easier, and don't worry about the scoring and everything, it's tallying it up for you. All you have to do is make sure you have a score in the green box. One of the things I did want to show you that's different from last time is the bonus points. If you're reading an application and they talk about highlighting equity and they talk about highlighting pre-apprenticeship programs or apprenticeship programs, they're working with students that are foster youth. you want to be able to give them some bonus points for that. And it's 3 bonus points for, whatever model they choose. And the proposed models are linked in the NOFO and also on the website. But if they've done equity, if you could just put in the box, they did equity, and then we're giving them 3 bonus points for that. And like I said, everything tallies for you. Or they did equity and they wanted to work with the school district, you would just put that there as well. You don't get 6 bonus points, you just get 3 bonus points for any part of it. So that's just an easy way that we want it. And we really want to highlight these programs because any program that's taking on apprenticeship, that really shows a good career pathway where you have youth, you're introducing them to this career pathway, you're giving them tangible work skills, they're actually on site, they're getting an industry recognized credential, and then you're bringing them into a place where they could register for an apprenticeship. It really is a model of an actual program. So we wanted to provide some bonus points there. You may read some applications and there's no bonus points, and that's okay as well. But like I said, if they've highlighted, we're really working with youth that are DCFS youth, you want to be able to highlight that and give them bonus points. Does anybody have any questions about the bonus points or the scoring card?
Hey, Tara, this might be a Karen issue, but when I try to open the scorecard, it says that it's opening Excel, which is already open on my machine, and yet it's not opening the scorecard.
Okay.
Any suggestions?
Yes. Did you click the 3 dots? Can you try the second way of doing it too?
I did try both ways.
Okay. So I will actually send everyone the scorecards so that way you can actually have it in the email too. And I'm also going to send David an email that says the scorecard isn't opening. Can you do me a favor and try to open log 1 through whatever, 1 through 12? Just open any one. Are you able to open other documents?
Oh yeah, I just opened Harold Washington, and I was able to open one of the PDF documents.
Okay, so it's the scoring.
Although one of the other PDF documents I tried to open gave me this weird, like, download Adobe Reader now, but I've got that already. So it was weird.
Okay, does anybody else have that issue? And are you using Chrome?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I will give your name to David. This is just for me. Sorry, folks, I just want to do it and not. If there's anybody else that's having these issues, please let me know because we want to fix this. Why are you not doing this on
Yeah, I just tried another Excel document and it also would not open. Like it opens one of the other Excel documents, like it's making its way there, but it never finishes by opening the actual document from, let me try that other way.
This is SharePoint. I'll prepare it. Perfect. I will send that after this meeting.
Okay.
So please, this is the problems that we want to fix beforehand. So if you have time, like I said, between today and tomorrow, if you could click around and just make sure you're able to open the ones that are assigned to your group, we can fix those. But this is what I wanted. Oh, let me go back to the scorecard. So that's the first part. That is just the scoring form. And then the recommendations overall, if there's anything you want to say about the grant application, things that were really, really good, like, hey, they're working with out of school youth. This looks like a really good, solid program. Also, would you request funding? You just click box 7 and select yes or no. And then would you recommend full funding? Some of these applications that I've read, the funding goes beyond our max. So please, there was like one in there for $989,000 and I was like, whoa, all righty. So when you say full funding, we're talking about our full funding, which is $500,000 max. That's what we're looking at in there. So if you wanted to provide that information, that's perfect. I also saw very briefly, like I said, I was looking at them as just as we're uploading documents. There was some that said they wanted to work with 200 youth. There was one that wanted to work with 1,000 youth, and that is great and wonderful. But as we talked about in the other conversations, when you're reading these applications, we want to make sure that this makes sense. These are 1-year grants. I also saw a couple of agencies that wanted to hire like 4 or 5 new people. And as we talked about, again, those should be red flags. These are one-year grants. That's going to be hard to retain 4 or 5 staff members after this grant. And what I don't want us to do is put in money, for one project for 1 year, and then after that, there's no project because 1, they couldn't sustain the staff, or 2, they couldn't sustain working with the youth. So just things that, if when you're reading that should stick out to you. I really wanted to make note of those 2 things. Does anybody else have any questions? Sarah, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. Just if we could make sure, all those links work for those documents, and then let us know right away, and we will definitely try to resolve that issue for you. I know I had some trouble yesterday trying to access some of the documents, prepping for this meeting, and it really just took me doing it like 10 minutes later. So, and I don't know if that is a me problem or a computer problem or just the way it is, but.
And you were using a Mac, right?
Yes.
So just let us know, worst case scenario, if you, have problems with it, I will personally send you the applications. So, if you click on it and you're having any issues, just say, hey, Tara, I'm on team 6, just send them over to me. Like I said before, my job is to make this as easy as of a process as it is for you, for everyone. So I can just send them over. We try not to do that because we really want to keep them behind the secure wall to protect everything. But in this instance, normally we would print them out and waste a lot of paper and send them over to folks. But we're not in the office and able to do that. So our next step is working through our IT team. But in the event that our IT team cannot fix the issue, please let me know and we'll get them to you. Does anybody else have?
Yes, this is Lisa. I am over at the page, the 2021 Youth Career Pathways.
The team list?
The team list, I must have did something wrong because all I see here are Youth Career Pathways applications.
Did you click on it?
Oh, I clicked on that, the application. Oops. Okay. So from here, you want me to test out, just click on anyone, you said?
Any random one. If you want to actually use one of the ones, let me see, Lisa, you're on, Lisa Davis. You're on team 4. So if you want to do 25, 26, 28, any one of those, if you want to, double check, and then you can just let me know.
Okay, so I'm going to do the 3 dots for open. So far I got open. It has the log, True Temple, program application. Oh, it opened.
So it's just there. That's what I want. Music to my ears. In the event that 25 opens for you and 26 is just acting crazy, just let me know. Send me an email. We can fix it. Anybody?
And another question. I don't know if you mentioned this before. So in regards to the team that we have, can we communicate with each other, or it's best to do our scoring alone?
So I would say do your scoring alone. And in the event that I get back, Lisa, you say this, overall this grant scored an 80. And then Janelle says, they scored a 30. Because that's such a wide gap, I would just have you, Janelle, and Andrew together. And then in that meeting, you can say, hey, did you see that they wanted to work with 1,000 kids? That's crazy. Janelle could come back and say, yeah, but they have 7, case managers. So then we would do just a us 3 or us 4 meeting.
Okay.
But hopefully if everyone, and like I said, we're trying this out this year, but if everyone uses the big buckets of guiding, this is below standard because there's no evidence of this. This meets the standard because there is evidence of this, or this exceeds it because there's actual evidence of it and a way to sustain it and additional partners, then that will hopefully keep our scores within a range. That's a really good question. Thank you, Lisa. Is there anybody else that has any questions?
Yes, question confirming timing. So we owe you scoring by, is it end of day on the 28th?
So we are giving, and I know some people in here want to go ahead and get their scores in. So we are looking at the 28th as our date, which is 2 weeks 28th, 29th. I want to give everybody 2 weeks to look through them. There's 6 applications for each group. There is one group that has, I'm sorry, everybody has 5, and there's 2 groups with 6. So we wanted to try to keep the, try to give everybody 2 weeks. If at any point your life happens and things are crazy over the next 2 weeks, please email me. Hey, Tara, I need a little bit more time. That is no problem. But hopefully 2 weeks will get most of us completed with the application.
Okay, sounds great. And can you remind me if this has been mentioned before, roughly how much time you anticipate we would spend reviewing each grant?
That depends on the grant and the amount of attachments. Like I said, we tried to keep them in one. I would say the technical proposal pages are not supposed to be more than 12 pages. The technical, the like, what are we doing with this grant money? That is not supposed to be more than 12 pages. So there's some documents in here, and let's just pull up one just so we're all looking at it. So this one has 35 pages. So something like this, when you're looking, this is just our uniform application. This, it means nothing to you outside of, okay, they're located in Chicago. They're gonna highlight the Inglewood area. This just tells the start and end date of the program, how much they're requesting from us, and then it's signed. The conflict of interest, don't worry about that information. Mandatory disclosure, don't worry about it. This is their executive summary. So for $500,000, they would like to work with 50 youth, and that's roughly $10,000 per student in the construction industry. Here's their training partners, which is Squared Away Construction. The credentials they'll obtain by completing this program is the high school diploma, the NCCER for construction, or lift truck operator credential. The business partners on here are listed. So just from looking at this, not reading this before, okay, they have quite a few business partners. You know, let me see, okay, it's in construction, there's a credential attached to it. They've told me how many students, the overall cost, and how much per person. And then they're gonna work with 16 to 24-year-olds, so that's out of school youth. They're gonna enroll them in construction. They're gonna obtain their high school diploma, so that's good. And then the outline of their program. So most of your information, if it's done correctly by them, you should be able to get a snapshot of what you're gonna read in the executive summary. And that's always at the front. And then once you get into it, this is on some nice paper in the back. But this is just talking about the outline of the program, their cohorts. So this is how I read these applications. And look at the technical proposal. So this is where they're getting into, okay, this is what we're doing with this funding for this communities. So they're working with underserved communities on Chicago's South Side. And then I just want to go through here. So now I'm already up to page 15 out of 35, still talking about the program, COVID-19 plan, performance measures. Okay, they're going to do 80%, 90%. This is the median earnings for their students. They're doing 90% credential attainment and 90% in skill gains. That's very high numbers for 50 youth, saying that 90% or 80% of your youth will do X, Y, and Z. So that's just things that stick out to me. Looking at the scope of work, again, we can see that this is the training provider, this is the sector, here's the credentials, here's the credentialing body that's handing out, you know, these credentials. Work-based learning, they're gonna make $15 an hour for work-based learning. They're gonna be carpenters, laborers for this company, and then the wage is going to vary for permanent employers. And then this is from the Cook County Partnership, so their letter of consistency from their local workforce area. You just want to read in here pretty much the last paragraph will say the partnership has not had the opportunity. So the partnership cannot say whether this group is good, they have had past performance with us. they have never worked with them. So yes, they have a letter of consistency, but also the partnership has never worked with them, which is fine. So if they did in the past, then the partnership will put, the information here as far as their great grantees. They had a 2018 grant and they had all their participants in. These are the agreements. Now, this is very, very, very important. So this is the agreements with them and different partners. So this is with the city colleges. In here, in reading any agreement, you just want to make sure that everybody has a task. You're supposed to recruit the youth. You're supposed to train the youth. Does this relationship cost them anything if they're giving any money to anyone? You want to make sure this makes sense. If me and Sarah are working together and I say, Sarah's going to recruit all my youth, Sarah's doing all my books, she's putting in the numbers monthly, she's doing everything. You want to look at that and say, wait a minute, okay, well, what's the agency doing? So you want to make sure that, the jobs are spread out and that it makes sense. That's the biggest thing. Right here is what I like to look at. I look at the roles and responsibilities for the grantee and then the roles and responsibilities of the construction company. So looking at this one, the construction company is going to have the NCCER curriculum. They're going to give them safety training, forklift training, scaffolding. All the training will be provided at a discounted rate of $1,000 per student for 40 students. We will provide training for 10 in kind. That's good for me to know. That shows that this partnership, they're doing something, they have an investment in these youth. I like that. They will provide paid internships for up to 10 youth. They will attend, the stakeholders meeting. That's great. Everybody signed it. It's within this year. We're good to go. So something like this, although if you look at it, the application part was maybe about 15 pages. Now you're just getting into who's doing what. Does this make sense? Does this look like a real relationship? So some of these you'll read will be great. I like these MOUs where they're spelled out exactly the roles and responsibilities. Some of them are just in paragraph form. It's just up to the applicant. But just reading that really, really quickly, there's a letter of commitment from the Chicago area painting training committee. So you just want to look at this and make sure this makes sense to you. This is a program that can be sustained, this, MOU. Does anybody else have any questions? So this one, whoever has this one, True Temple, this one is not long at all. Anything like this, the certification page, don't worry about it. It's for our budget department, but it's just good for you to know, okay, they have a CFO signed it, the executive director signed it, but we'll be looking for that. Any tax information, you don't have to worry about it. They just needed to submit that to us. So this
Hey,
one.
Tara, this is Tom. I have a question. When I haven't done this before, so I'm a newbie. When I'm looking at 5 or 6 different applications, I might get through the first one, then I get to the third one and say, "Oh wow, this is much better than the first one." Maybe I rated the first one too high, or something like that. And you have a nuance on it. How, is that going to happen, or how do we handle that if I do have those thoughts?
That happened to me the first time I read grants. The first one I read, I was like, "Oh, this program's awesome and amazing, and they have everything." And then I read one from an established, agency. And yeah. So the way I do it now is I read all the applications first. I don't assign any scores. I may make notes on the side of like, oh, that was really cool that they did this, but I read everything first. And the one that sticks out is gonna play in your head over and over. And I go to that one first.
Okay, that's good. That's good advice. Yeah.
I think this one is the best. And then, then I score the other ones. Because that happened to me. I thought I read one and I had to go back and I was like, ooh, they were actually missing X, Y, and Z, or, so that does happen. That's normal.
Okay, thank you for that advice.
No problem. Anybody
Jeanette
else?
also has her hand raised.
Yeah, hi, I have a question with regard to the 12-page executive summary. Do you want us to stop at 12 pages when they write a hard and fast rule at 12, or read all the way through?
So the executive summary should be 2 pages. So this is 1, 2, and then the program proposal will be where you start the 12.
Okay. And do you want us to stop? Do you want us to stop at the end of the 12, or if they go into 13, 14, continue?
I would continue on just so you get a full picture of the grant.
Okay.
I would note in there, hey, they did go over the 12 pages. But here's the tricky part. If there was one that I saw that had like a lot of graphs, and I saw that theirs actually went over to page 15, I wouldn't necessarily consider that a 15-page because they put some graphs in there to show, they were talking about, I believe, census data in their area. So that's really up to your judgment as well. I'm somebody that's not really a stickler for 12 pages if you are putting graphs, charts, stuff like that in there. But if you're reading one and it's single space and you're on page 20 and because you're going to read some and they're going to say, hey, we've been doing this for 100 years. We're great. We're awesome. We're wonderful. And you're like, oh my God, can you just get to the youth, career pathway, opportunity? So that's something to look at as well. It's happened time and time again where grantees will tell us all about them. And then the last 5 pages is about what you're doing with this funding right now for the youth. So that's something to note too, because that for me is a sign of, hey, we really first page, I want to see you talking about the program and how you're going to do it and what it looks like for your agency. It's nice to put those things in there, but we're not talking about the history of the agency. We're talking about the funding right now.
Okay, great. No, thank you. Federal government, usually if there's a page requirement, you stop reading exactly at that page requirement.
Mm-hmm. It gets really tricky though, because I wonder how they use graphs or web links, like something like this, like they're giving us a resource. I wouldn't consider, because that's an extra line they could have used, then it gets really tricky.
No, thanks for the clarification.
No problem. I appreciate it. Thank you. Janelle, you have a question?
Yeah, I don't have my notes handy. Can you remind me how we submit the scorecards?
Yes, just email them to me. So you should, in an email to me, you should have 6 Excel documents, unless you're the group with 5, and then you just send it to me.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? And once we have the scores, I will definitely share them with everyone. We may jump on like we are today and say, team 1, you scored 86, 35, 50. We'll go over the scores. And then of those, our goal is to take 70 and above for these grants. So we will definitely highlight on this document or something similar to where we're showing, okay, these are the people that did 70 or above. Does anybody have any questions about your team, your applications, or where to find the information? That's the main. Okay. If not, like I said, email me, call me. My job is to make this an easy process for you. And let us know if 6 applications, last year we had 10 per group. This year we knocked it down to 6. So please let me know if you felt like 6 is manageable in 2 weeks, or if it's just like, nope, you need to give people a month. Just give us any feedback. We're open to it. I appreciate it.
Hey, Tara. Hey, this is Carmine. Sorry, I made it in a little late. I had a question in regards to the teams. How's the workload being divvied up?
So
we're just all doing all 6 and then coming together?
No, so we have 6 different teams, and then we have 3 reviewers per team. Mm-hmm. And we separated them out by different application types, their sectors. Mm-hmm. So you are on team 5, and you're doing the healthcare grants. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 6 applications. Okay. And did you hear me about the decimal point SharePoint issue? Okay. No. So even though this says 0.4, this is number 4, number 9, number 15. Just disregard the decimals. We had to put that in there for SharePoint because it wasn't taking 15, it was taking 1.5. Okay. So your numbers are 4, 9, 15, 22, 23, and 31. Okay, cool. Did anybody else?
Are we working collaboratively?
No, you just reviewed the applications, but what we said is if there's a point where Francis scores something 100 and you score them a 30, then me, you, Francis, and Savannah would get together and just talk about the scores, because maybe there's some insight you have or that she has regarding the scoring difference.
Okay, makes sense.
But we really want to encourage folks, if we're using the 3 big buckets, this should help us keep the scores somewhat in the same ballpark. Okay. So if you could really rely on if it exceeds, meets, or below.
Okay.
But like I said, if you have any questions in reviewing it, please let me know. And if we see those, once the scores are turned in, we'll definitely have a smaller group meeting just about those applications. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Like I said, always available, even after hours. I don't even know what time I work anymore. It's just email me, call me, send a smoke signal. I will see you. Our goal, like I said, is to give everybody 2 weeks for the 6 applications. Give me any feedback. Hey, life is crazy this week. I need 2 more days, 3 more days. Just let me know and we'll get it going. So in the end, the way that I know you're finished with your applications is you'll send me an email and it'll have 6 Excel documents in it. And I'll send you back, a message and we'll be good to go. So hopefully the next time we'll get together will be sometime in May. I'm thinking about the 2nd week. So I want to give everybody 2 weeks and then give us a week to put all the scores in, do our magic. And then I want us to at least get back together so that we can see here are the final scores for everyone. And then we can look at our final list of grantees and get on with the next phase. So again, I appreciate everyone. I appreciate your time. Thank you for helping us out with this. Like I said, we're trying different things this year as far as grouping them in sectors, having smaller groups, and only 6 applications. So let us know if that works and how that looks. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Thank you again. Like I said, last but not least, if you could take 5 minutes, just click on a couple of those documents, really click on the ones that you're going to be working on, and just make sure that all the links open up for you. If not, just shoot me an email and we'll get them over to you. Thank you everyone for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tara.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Super
Tara.
helpful.
Bye.
Have a good one.